Hey everybody, it's great to see you today. Of course, everything goes nuts. My own Facebook phone is notifying me of the Facebook. Great to see you here today. It's my honor to actually run this class for Karen and the human design. I've spent a lot of my years studying with her and studying with everybody here. And I'm going to tell you today about activating your prosperity pathway by human design. I've discovered that we have this inner mechanism of doing business, and when we don't know what it is, we can actually kibosh ourselves quite easily. Oh, that's an Irish word for sabotage. I better be careful about my Irishisms. Anyway, I'm from Ireland. I'm based here in Boston, and I started in biomedical science doing maybe almost 20 years and doing medical microbiology. And moved from there when my node changed, not knowing any of this then. My node changed and suddenly nothing made sense anymore. So I started doing angel healing and teaching in County Galway. Completely right field to where I was. And have developed my business, moved to America, worked in corporate, bringing energy work to corporate, and then found human design, which to me is the most amazing tool in so many ways. I'm a 5-1 projector, and with the triple split, and yes, emotional definition or emotional authority. So a quagmire, should I say. I've been watching Harry Potter for the last few weeks. So I'm a human design muggle. I kind of have every bit of everything that's possible almost, except the generator, except the sacral. So I'm going to start on my presentation. I'll let you know as much as I can. And I've got some fabulous questions that you submitted to me during the week, and I'm going to answer those. And of course, anything else that comes up, okay? So first, what I would like to do is I pulled one of these quantum activation cards of Karen's, which I love. And if any of you are working in human design with other teachers, this wording is the best. I just want you to know. Anyway, I love it. So the card I chose was Gate 5, which is consistency, right? And the challenge is to learn to order habits and rhythm that support alignment, connection, and the flow of life force energy, and the fulfillment of purpose. And when it's unbalanced, life seems like a constant struggle to stay connected and live habitually in a way that creates stability, sustainability, and fulfilled expression. Mastery is the ability to stay consistent with habits and choices that bring you closer to living true to who you are through alignment and not overusing willpower. How cool is that for today? Like, you can't make that stuff up. But anyway, I love using these cards as oracles. And so that's what I did. This is what business is about, making it consistent, being consistently you. I mean, it doesn't get much easier than that. I am kidding. It's not that easy to be us when we've learned to be someone else. So let me see where my thing is. Okay, so activating your prosperity pathway so that you can create a sustainable business doing what you love without burning out. I am uniquely wired to deliver this message, as Karen told me 3 years ago, but it took me a while to accept it because I was so sacrally conditioned to work hard. I didn't actually register it at the time I was there. Oh yeah, Karen, sure, I'm the one who's here to talk about money. But actually I was. When I looked at my clients and their results, it was always spinning them into success for them. Whether it was getting that book into a bestseller, or getting the job that they wanted, or getting the money that they wanted, I seemed to have a knack to do that. So there's so many of us transformational experts out there struggling to make money sharing our work. And it just doesn't have to be that way. But here's what I was hearing, and what I was finding myself was, I've tried everything, right, to help people using my gifts, but it's disheartening not to make the money that I need to sustain myself. As a 5-1, I'm compelled to help people. As transformational experts, we're compelled to help people. We can't not do that. So it's the money piece that can get a little bit, wobbly when it comes to moving from helping to actually making money. The second thing was people kept telling me to do it my way, right? 5-1 projector, triple split, and emotional authority. Yeah, do it my way. I was hardly able to see myself, not to mind anybody else. I didn't know what my way was, and nor did my clients. The third thing, and you might recognize this, outsourcing our value. We've learned over the years to, have the teacher mark us or, grade our papers, and have our parents acknowledge us, and have, get acknowledgement from work. Outsourcing everything. We outsource our value also. Instead of starting with us, we start, oh my God, if I only had clients. And of course, we have no control over the clients or them saying yes or no. But when we put our emphasis, our value on clients coming to us and clients paying us, it's very much out of our power. It's kind of reverse to what we've learned, if you notice. And then marketing felt like putting a square peg into a round hole. Anybody find that? Any fives out there? Fives in the profile find that marketing is a bit tricky. Yeah, it's a totally different ball game, I've discovered. So, for example, I would hear, I've tried all the marketing tools with limited results, feeling like I was putting a square peg into a round hole. I'm just not getting it. This is how I felt as a 5, right? One thing I know is pushing doesn't work, but neither does wishing and saying a prayer, and sitting there waiting for something to happen. And waiting is a big word used in human design, as we all know. So to me, the waiting is part of the timing. We need to redefine some of those terms. The other thing I noticed, and I see that there's guys here as well, so welcome. I have women down mainly, but that most of us feel isolated as transformational experts. We don't get support. And it's kind of between a rock and a hard place. We do need support, but there's kind of a shame around being supported, because we should, we got this. We should know better. We should know how this works. But actually, that's not how it works at all. Maybe feeling that we're not good enough, or that there's something wrong if we need to help ourselves. But we're not doing it wrong. And it doesn't have to be this way. If you think about it, the work ethic has been created by men for men, when they have their little women at home doing the cooking, the washing, the cleaning, minding the kids, and all those other things we are as women in business, and men too, by the way, in 2021. So it's just, being aware of that. That work ethic was based on a completely different dynamic. And here we are expecting ourselves to be super women and super men. Actually, we just need to dial into what our true business essence base is for that, okay? And where am I going from here? All these symptoms, the money running out, the marketing not working, the trying at other people's ways and wondering why it's not working for us, all these can be symptoms of our prosperity pathway being turned off. And as I said, it doesn't have to be this way. We're not doing it wrong. I help women and men make more money in their business by learning their unique business wiring and tapping into their inner game of business, so that they're activating their prosperity pathway. And so it's about imagining if we could create more money, enough to sustain ourselves, stop running in circles and hustling, reclaiming our value, bringing that value from the client back to the value of what we provide, and making your marketing sing. There's a ton of marketing tools out there. I consider America to be the marketing capital of the world. And it's not that the marketing tools are off. It's that we actually, when we're expressing our authentic voice, we make those marketing tools sing. And they're singing not because of the tool, they're the vehicle for our voice. So it's just learning how to get that in sync for yourself is what makes the difference. Oh my goodness. So you can do this by activating your human or your prosperity pathway. And I use human design, or you can use human design, this is what I'm teaching you today, to pinpoint your way through that path and also show where you unwittingly turn it off, which is kind of important, because when we turn it off, we need to know what our signals are that our prosperity pathway is off. Otherwise, we can just keep going until we hit that wall. And I don't know about you, I have hit way too many walls to want to hit any more. Thank you very much. And part of my work with the angels in Galway was, please let it be a feather. Think of the 4x4 between the eyes. Please let it be a feather. Just, keep it simple. Anyway, I hope some of you can agree with that, but maybe not. Maybe you haven't hit any walls at all. So what is the prosperity pathway? To me, it's your natural process to magnetize money, clients, and opportunities into your life. Your ability to create a healthy flow in every area of your life: health, wealth, love, and creativity. And when your prosperity pathway is off, you may experience the following. You might have anxiety due to a slowdown in clients, cash flow, or opportunities. Or maybe confidence conflicts where you feel pressure to act on ideas before the timing is right and it doesn't work out the way you thought it should. And which of course dents your confidence. It becomes a vicious circle. And then that panicky feeling, if you have a split in your design, you might get that panicky feeling that, something's missing, something's always seems to be missing, and that you might be disconnected from your life purpose. It might actually be how you're wired, And then other things, uncertain about what to commit to because of trauma of past failures. Who identifies with that one? I have the 32 in my chart, so I'm well aware of either I'm achieving the potential or I'm achieving the failure, and there is middle ground. But it's not as obvious as succeeding or failing. Anyway, this is always the middle ground. So uncertain of what to do. And then this, of course, keeps you in the vicious cycle, keeping doing work for fear if you don't do the work, you won't make the money, and even doing jobs that you're just about barely making ends meet, instead of looking for the job that will give you that extra cushion, vicious cycle, doing life-sucking work because you need the money. And I don't know about you, but I've been there and done that. I've been around the block through my Chiron return. So I've been around the block, and so I can help you with this. So the first thing you need to know about that prosperity pathway is it's actually in your control. It's in our control. Guess what, guys? Magnetism is an inner job, not an outer job. We can put out all the words we like, but if it's not magnetized with our brilliance, with our amazingness, it just falls flat. Have you noticed? It is in our control. We can't control the clients, but we can control what we bring to our work. Okay, so the first step, I'll just keep an eye on my time. Oh yeah, I'm good. The first step is decluttering. Now, some of you will notice that I kind of disappeared off the Karen scene for the last year and a half or so, and that's because I was studying Feng Shui. Everything energy, I'm an open sacral, so everything energy for me. I love to support myself within with human design and without with that Feng Shui. Anyway, so first thing with any healing, any energy modality is declutter. Clear out what you don't want. What do you need to declutter from your business? And it's more to do with, we can find, and I learned this from Feng Shui, is that our outer environment actually is a very good place to look. Our results are a very good place to look to see where we're blocked in our business. Now, we have the obvious ones like money and clients and stuff, but there's other ways that we might be stopping that flow from happening. So looking at your processes, your business process, what computer support you have, your clients. Sometimes we might be accepting the clients that won't pay us, filling up our space for the clients who will, and it can be exhausting, right? Or you bring in I don't know about you, but I like to have clients who really want to work with me. When I was working in corporate there for the first few years in Cleveland, the HR person would bring me in and say, yeah, Anita, we love what you're doing. But I'd be walked into like 10, 15 managers and they'd be there, who are you, like? And what are you doing here? You know, seriously, stress management. It's like, it was really draining. It used to take me a day or two just to recover from the negativity of it all. And I'm only kidding. I actually did have to work my way, though, to manage that client space. And because guess what I found doing corporate work was that when I create a space for the client, it's actually very unhealthy for me. So I learned instead to, when as soon as I walked in the door, sat them all down, said, put your feet on the ground, we're going to ground and center now. And I was handing back their responsibility for their own energy. And it was way more easy for me to do that. So if you're a projector, there's a lot of healing modalities that say, create the space for your client. And they're, no, don't do that. Well, not if you're a projector anyway. So that might be a big tip for someone who's finding they're exhausted from their work and wondering why. Anyway, I used to find that people would walk out the door like they'd dance out the door. And I was almost on the floor, like ready for a snooze. Anyway, does that resonate with you at all? This decluttering also works with our deconditioning with human design. You know, are you identifying with your non-self instead of recognizing it as a signal that you're out of balance? You're saying, well, you know, I'm trying to be certain that's what I do when I'm open-head and ajna, but actually that's what you do when you're out of balance. When you're in balance, your head and ajna is open to possibilities and all sorts of information. And be adaptable to receiving all sorts of information. So outdated shoulds, rules in your business, limits that you've put on yourself. We can harness that beautiful energy, Pluto in the 61 now, to just question that inner truth. Or, you know, are these things still true for us? Or is what someone else saying true for me anymore? What business systems have I brought into my business that I actually need to adapt to my way of doing it, rather than trying to push with something that's not mine at all? And you know, negative programming that you might have learned, you know, when is your business going to be something more than a hobby? Or, you know, when are you going to make real money? You know, all these meanies that I've learned, these meanies are just as much living in my head as they are outside my head. So, you know, I'm my own meanie. When I own it, I can be much kinder to myself. And so the tip here is very simple. When you know how you're wired to process information, if you're not working that, if you're not harnessing the energy in the way you're wired, the excess baggage and the excess clutter in your life, in your space, in your mind, drains your energy. But when you clear it, you're setting up a space now to bring in what you want instead. And my key here is pretty simple. You know, find one thing every day. I'm gone way ahead of myself. Find one thing every day to declutter. Just one. Just step by step. There's no point in overwhelming. But remove, you know, see something, look for one thing every day that you can actually remove from your business that's no longer serving you. Okay. So next, step number 2, the success mindset. How are you wired to process information? Now, I know you know that success mindset is way more than positive thinking. You know, too much positive thinking can lead us to be kind of Pollyanna, you know, totally delusional. And what we're learning at the moment is just because you think it doesn't mean it's true. But here's the other thing, the way our brain works, the way our reticular activation system works, is if you're thinking it, your reticular activation system looks for evidence to confirm what you're thinking. So it might feel like it's true when it's not true at all. So it's as important to know how you think when you're out of balance as how you think when you are in balance. So with the open head and ajna, for example, instead of saying, you know, why isn't it working, or why isn't my idea working, start at the very start when you get that idea and actually question your decision authority. Is this idea actually mine to work with? Now that can stop all sorts of extra work that we might create for ourselves, just that one question. And, you know, open up for what is your idea, right? The open-headed asana is a wonderful mind reader, but your sacral or your decision authority is what lets you know, is that decision correct for you or not, right? And then the defined head and asana, which I have, I'm designed to be certain. But if I'm certain, what I'm certain about isn't true, oh my God, I can't tell you. I actually have a dent in my forehead from walls. So my first question with a defined head and asana is this actually true for me? Is this actually true? So, you know, each design has its own questions that it needs to ask based on your wiring. And, you know, when I am hitting a wall, luckily I've learned I don't actually have to hit the wall now. Things just aren't working for me. I'm kind of there, hang on a sec. Is there something here that I'm working on that isn't true? And so I can take my mental hands off it and realign with what is true for me so that I can move forward. And instead of saying, what's wrong? Why isn't it working? Start saying, what do I actually need to do now to get the result that I want? Okay, very simple, but we have to start with the mind because that's how we've been conditioned. Most of us have been living in our heads for way too long. So 3, the prosperity trap. The prosperity trap is the place where we keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Now, we can do this for 2 reasons. We can do this because it's the way we learned and it genuinely doesn't suit us, or it can actually be how we're wired, but it's out of balance. So it's fear-driven instead of our brilliance-driven. You know, what I would say is our superpower and alignment becomes a super liability when we're in stress or when we're in fear. And if you're anything like me, for my first part of my career working in a busy hospital, we didn't think we were stressed. We just thought we were busy. So when you mistake, as a transformational expert, when you mistake busy for, or stress for busy, that can be inadvertently turning off our prosperity pathway, and it can lead us into all sorts of trouble. Not trouble, you know, personally or physically. It just, you know, we can be wondering, we're not getting the results that we could be when we move from our emergency generator, which is our adrenals, into our core. You move from 10% of your potential into 100% of your potential. You're always going to have better odds from there, okay? So the prosperity trap is to do with, you know, there's different aspects, but relationship safety. Because the way we relate to anything is the way we relate to everything. And that goes with our business. Now, I don't have to tell you, running your own business, it's something new every day. There's something different all the time. It's probably the number one way to jump off a cliff with your personal development strategy is to start your own business, because you just go through all the growing pains, the ups, you really learn how to step into your own 2 feet, but it does take time. And so in relationships and human design, we know we look at Mars and Venus. How you relate, where you go when you're feeling insecure is what you'll do with your prosperity. So, you know, what do you do when you're insecure in relationships? Do you shut down? Do you just isolate yourself? Do you run off before anything starts up? Do you avoid it because you have an open emotion and you don't really want to face it? Or do you reject the opportunity before it rejects you? You know, when you think about all these things, they're so simple. It's right there in our design. But in fear, we will do all those things. But when we're in balance, we literally move from fear, which is contracted, to being magnetic and expansive when we open into our core in relation to relationships. So when I know, for example, in a relationship that I might shut myself down, or I'll walk into an experience or walk myself into an opportunity that will shut me down if I'm afraid, right? If I'm not afraid, I know that I'm inclined to do this. So I say, okay, I predetermine it. I kind of go, okay, I'm aligning with this in a way that I'm opening up to the possibilities. I'm actually allowing this opportunity to happen. I'm really good at shutting it down. I'll just start something new. I'll just go off and I'll say, I'll just do this one more thing now before I do the important thing. And then I put myself under pressure for the important thing. I don't know, does this relate to anybody? But you know, this requires a sense of humor and a very big loving hug to yourself, because it's part of what we do. When I know this isn't something I need to fix, it's just something I need to keep an eye on, that it's balanced. It's a game changer, right? It's really cool. So you might notice you've done the same in your business. And in that, you know, it really does. It really does. If you look at your relationships and look at how you do things, it can be a really good game changer. What I've learned is that we all have a unique prosperity trap pattern. We don't all respond in the same way, as you well know. But what you need to know is that when afraid or anxious about having enough money or clients, it does shut down our magnetism and our enthusiasm, and we miss opportunities because we don't see them. You know, I don't know about you, but if you've ever watched bedtime stories, it's really funny. Alan Alda is in it, and he keeps misreading his signals from the universe. So that's what I used to do. You know, the sign would say, this way, Annita, is the next way for you. And I'd go, oh, okay. And I'd go that way, right? Just if I was off balance. But when I'm on balance, I go that way. And it's funny. It's just funny how that happens. Anyway, so the next thing, so the tip there is to discover what your prosperity trap is using the human design. What are your predictable behavior patterns when out of balance? And use them as cues to tell you to reset your balance. Okay. Very important. Make friends with fear. It's a big deal. If you're not in mortal danger, fear is your friend. Okay. So 4, prosperity activator. Are you friends with your fear, or do you let it bully you? And I say that because fear can be a bully. You know, I'm doing this because I'm afraid not to. Anybody ever say that? I'm keeping going because if I stop now, I'll miss something. Anybody get it? You know, all these different things we say to each other, to ourselves, to keep going doing things that are off track. We can be really good at that. As it's underlying fears that switch off our prosperity pathway, befriending fear is our antidote. Now you'll find in my work, I have the antidote, I have the anti-fear, I have the anti-thought, I have the because I worked in microbiology, it was antibodies or antiviral. So to me, it's the anti-thought. It's the one that knocks it out. Anyway, and a lot of people try to deny fear and pretend there's no such thing. You know, if you're afraid, you don't have to be afraid. And of course, you know, unless you're in mortal danger, which of course run, fear to me is an exquisite set of checks and balances to let you know what and how you need to reset your energy to get back in balance. If for no other reason than to keep that prosperity pathway open, you know, you don't want to be catching yourself with something you can control. There's so many things we can't control, but if it's something you can, wouldn't you prefer to do that? So making friends with fear is our tip here, and be aware that just because we, as transformational specialists or experts, just because we see what's going on and we're aware and we know what's going on in the world and with people, doesn't mean we aren't impacted by it ourselves. So we can be inadvertently shutting down our prosperity pathway, and it doesn't feel like fear, but it does show up in our results. I call this kind of blind spot triggering. And one of the big reasons I seek support and provide it for others is blind spot triggering. We really need to be on our game in this current environment and be very aware of how our energetic balance is so important. We just have to switch on the news to see how much people love change. And we know also that the planetary alignment is supporting the extra tension. So the tension is supporting the tension. We know this is breakthrough energy, but we're also impacted. So when massive amounts of people are being forced, and we are being forced, I know in Ireland, they're in their third shutdown now for the virus. People don't like it. And that energy is quite strong. And if we're impacted by that under our radar, it'll only show up in our results. Okay, so just to be aware of that. Next one is our marketing message. Now, I've said this already, but there's tons of amazing marketing funnels out there for us to choose from. Probably too many, because if you're like me, you know, marketing to me has been like my squirrel syndrome really activated. Oh, squirrel! Oh, squirrel with sparkles! Oh my God, that's the best squirrel ever! And whether it's a new course or a new marketing tool or whatever, you know, I used to go for it when I didn't know about human design. Now I make very considered starts with my decision authority to make sure that I'm getting it, that I'm going after the right squirrels even. But when your prosperity pathway is off, you'll be trying to use someone else's method their way, trying to push it. This person got those results, so I must get those results. And as we're all here because we know that's not true, right? We do have our own marketing formula, and it's different for everybody. And, you know, I've done different business courses with Karen and with, you know, with other teachers. And really, you know, very often we're seeing things through our own lens. And you'll see that from me. You can, this whole presentation speaks of 5-1 projector with emotional authority. So, you know, this is very much my perspective. But I set up my message so that whatever resonates with you, that's for you. And if it doesn't, it's not for you. So you don't have to worry about it. But what's your best way of sharing your message? For some, it's sharing practical tips. For me, the 5-1 is practical tips, you know, on what to do, how to use this information. Are you better to share ideas? Are you better to do referrals? Do you love to share stories, experiences? What's your best way to market, to present your message? Because that's how we make these tools sing. Number one, working from our core, our balance. And number two, knowing that when we do that, we're just magnets. We stop the desperate dating of chasing clients, you know, that awful energy, where we're chasing clients, and we become magnets and let them come to us instead. Huge reversal there of a dynamic that's very important, as you all know, right? And so you see your marketing through, from my perspective, what I've learned is how we interact, how we learn, that our profile is a great indicator of your messaging, marketing, how you put out your marketing. So for me as a 5-1, practical tips, practical tools. If that information isn't useful, I won't be using it in the first place. I'm the nugget girl. I take all the information and I pull out the nugget. That's the 5-1. You might recognize yourself in that. And if I'm out of balance, I start overcomplicating it and I start talking about way too many things instead of one thing. Anyway, you might recognize that if you're a 5-1. So what is your messaging goal? To have a look at your profile. I believe it's a beautiful indicator of whatever your message is, how you deliver it. And when you're doing your marketing, then it'll feel way more natural to share your message that way, because it's how you're wired, right? Let's give what we do already the job of doing it brilliantly, you know, as we say in Ireland. How about? So the last step is appreciation. How do we close out our projects? Do we linger for longer than usual? Are you an open spleen like me? I kind of hold on to things. I delay the ending. Or, what is your way of doing it? Or maybe you cut them off before they're ready to go. You run before the project is up. Or maybe you stay focused on that 1% that's not done yet. Is that you? It's about recognizing, what your thing is for endings, so that we continue the loop of declutter those things and move into the expansion rather than keep getting stuck on the hamster wheel. If you're like me, I've done a lot of healing modalities, and I would heal to get back to my comfort zone, which was, of course, doing the same thing, getting the same results, no difference, as opposed to learning how to declutter and understand your own method so that you're integrating the change and moving to the next step, rather than just keep resetting back to your comfort zone or no change zone, whatever that is for you, right? So the tip here is, most of the things that we actually worry about in our business that keeps us from appreciating ourselves and appreciating a job well done is focusing on things that we can't control. And what I found really useful was using human design to build 2 files for your business. One, put the things that you can actually control. And 2, put the list of things you can't control. And the results will surprise you. And you know what you do after that? Use your decision authority to check out each list to see, is it actually correct? Have you things in the no control, that not control zone, that are actually in your control, and vice versa? Are you handing out the job for approval to someone else rather than recognizing you need to be your own approver? Simple things like that. So these 6 steps, when you pay attention to them, really help you identify and break through those age-old patterns that have been keeping you from prospering in your business, so that you can create a business that sustains you doing what you love without burning out. In my program, the Prosperity Pathway Oasis, it's a virtual gathering ground for transforming our change agents, our transformational experts, and it's to create the solid business foundation according to your design, as opposed to what you've learned your way, in a safe place, in a lovely, I do a lot of energy work in it, but it's about making reliable decisions, because to me, these are the money dial in your business. Am I deciding to do something that will generate income or not? Leveraging your energy so that you're energized by your work rather than depleted by it. And the third thing is co-creating your results, co-creating with the universe in the way that you're designed. And then Feng Shui, Feng Shui in your office, optimizing your support. Really, with the Feng Shui, if you look at it, it's amazing. There's 9 bagwas, like 9 centers. The center bagua is the one for health and well-being of you and your business, and all the other things, the marketing, the relationships, all the different things that you do in business, how you deliver your message, all are reflections of that inner health. So, what can I say? It just becomes really important, it becomes really important, especially right now, to keep our balance, maintain our balance. And if you have ways of doing that yourself, fantastic. If you don't, I'm not sure I'm allowed to do that. If you don't, well then, find ways. Talk to me. My website is annitakeane.com. You can see the different options I have available. But the Oasis Pathway is kind of like a year-long process to help you really dial into that. Okay. My unique contribution, I'm wired for this, is to help you align your inner resources and your outer skill set to generate the income, clients, and opportunities necessary to sustain you doing what you love without burning out. Okay? So that's the end of the presentation. I have a few questions here, if I have time for them, Cindy, do I?
Oh, yes, we still have time. And there were some questions that had come in via the chat too.
Okay.
Did you want to share your last slide there? I saw that. Yes, you're
Oh,
able
do you
to
want me to
share that.
share? Oh, thank you. I wasn't sure. At the
And I
moment.
did share it both. I did share your website in the chat on both Facebook and that.
Oh, thanks a million. You're a sweetheart. Yeah, what I'm offering at the moment on my website, you'll see it if you go there, is a free 15-minute prosperity pathway reading. Because there is one key, there is one thing that when you change, it is the most influential on your prosperity. And in this reading, you'll learn what is your number one money stopper. Okay? So you might find that useful, and it gives you an idea of how to work with me and different things like that. But you're very welcome to this. And if you do decide to join, or would like to work with me in the prosperity pathway oasis, I'm very open to giving you a discount because you're in the human design community. Okay, I just wanted to make that clear. Anyway, so that's the end of that. What I will do now is go through the questions, if that's okay. I can turn off the share screen. Can't I? Stop share, here we go. There we go, there we go. I'm in full screen mode. Okay, so the questions that I was asked, they're absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. As a projector, it's much easier for me to answer questions rather than me talking at you what I think you want to know. So it never worked for me as a marketing strategy. Anyway, so the first question I have is from Jane Park-Moore. And if you're okay with me mentioning your messages or your names, she's this 4/6 emotional generator, and she finds herself in a boom and bust money pattern. Now, the boom and bust money pattern, is there a way to have prosperity flow more consistently, and how? Okay, that's a very big question for this, but I definitely have a few words of advice for you there, Jane. The first one is you really need to start from your decision strategy. So as a generator, you're sacral, so you're emotional. So you need to be emotionally neutral as you listen to your sacral. I still believe, this is my belief anyway, okay, and you can take it or leave it, that the emotional authority means, for me, I have it, is that I need to be emotionally neutral when I check into my decision authority. So when you start from your decision strategy, first of all, that's number one. You'll find that changes. The second thing is sometimes we get so wrapped up in what we do and loving what we do that we forget that sharing what we do is probably 50% of our business. And the third thing is, while there might be family patterns, so bring that back into balance, bring the sharing back into balance. While we might have many family patterns, we might, like me, I was a projector, right? I lived in a house of manifesting generators and generators. So I was like running around like a mad thing. I was a super sprinter, very fast runner. I didn't realize I was running off all the energy. But you know what? So what is your business pace? Would be a question I would ask you there, Jane. What are you saying yes to and no to? Because what I've seen as well is that sometimes the universe brings you the lemons and everybody says, make lemonade. And I'm kind of there, why make lemonade? If you don't like lemonade, if lemonade doesn't pay your bills, don't make lemonade. Send it back and get oranges instead, or whatever you want. You might find you're accepting the work that just barely tides you over in the first place. You're too tired to do your marketing, and then by the time your head comes up, you might actually, you find your clients are gone because you haven't been doing your marketing. So it's important to get that balance. I do this in the Oasis is, what is your business essence pace? And so that will really help you there. I have Chantal Garnio, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, and an emotional generator also, 6/3. So tips and strategies for the entrepreneur currently on the roof to flow financially while not overcommitting and not burning out. Oh yeah, Oh yeah. So for this, with the 6-3, you can't really stop. That's not what you do. 6-3 is always doing something, always up to something. So what I would say, make sure that something is connected to your considered start again, connected to your decision authority. Because when you have that sacral and emotional, what's the word, agreement, it's first of all, you're generating energy, but second of all, you've tried everything, right? You're on the roof. You've tried a lot of things. You know what'll work at this point. And it's about making a commitment to yourself to, what are you going to invest your precious energy in now? Is it going to be something that opens your sacral, or that taps into that amazing energy that you have already? Or is it going to be something that goes against yourself? It's up to you. So I would use the space to step into the ownership of that role model 6 and really own your ability, own your expertise, own your experience, and love it. It'll be really fun for you. Make sure that you're connected to that sacral emotional agreement before you start. Okay, and you'll find you'll always be your own person, and you'll be recognized just for stepping into your brilliance that way. It's funny, those of us who don't seek recognition are the ones who get recognition. We magnetize it instead of chase it, right? It's like fantastic. Next, Sue Friend, how am I doing for time? 2:48, I'm a bit okay. 2:48 is Sue Friend, 3-5 generator. Prosperity has been her life challenge. She says, I know we have free will. Actually, agony aunt would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Human design agony aunt. I could do that. That would be an idea. Anyway, I know we have free will, just an aside. I also have the 11 in my chart. I have an idea, right? So just so you know, prosperity has been a life challenge. And I know we have free will and the planet's nudge us back on track. But how do you recognize the right work? If it feels good to us, enjoying, but isn't paying. This is another lemons one. The timing with the generator is really important, Sue. Make sure that you're responding to something and that the response first is your sacral response, right? That's most important. And for the 5, marketing is different to the norm. Have you noticed? The 5 marketing, the 5 were like karmic mirrors. I would put us on par with reflectors in relation to our marketing. You need to be careful what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to. If I say yes to too many things that aren't making money for me, I can't bitch at the end of it or complain or moan about not making enough money. I'm actually saying yes to no money. So it's not that I don't help people that don't have the money. I do. I allocate time maybe on Monday or Friday and say, hey guys, show up here. I can help you here. I used to do it in Galway all the time. That was kind of my lead generator. I'm running a meditation on Monday. Now we can't do that because of COVID, but you could run a virtual process where I would say, okay, it's $10 to join, and and if you want to work with me further, here it is. But either way, like with 5 or 6 people, I'm earning 50, 60 bucks instead of nothing. And I'm dealing with all these people at once instead of 6 hours of nothing. It's only 1 hour of nothing, if you know what I mean. It's not selfish. It's moving. That move from helping to making money is, you're providing an amazing service and you need to value it. So that's, be careful what you're saying yes to. And if you don't, when the universe brings in people who can't pay, you slot them into that group and leave the space open. Because you see, with our reticular activating system and with the universe, if you can keep saying yes to no money, it'll keep bringing you opportunities with no money. So we need to work all the energies in this regard. Yeah, that's very important. Timing, okay, Christine Marie, and that 5, I'll go into that in a minute. 2-4, manifesting generator, how to manage the natural hermit instincts and desires, along with the need for a strong foundation before moving and taking risks. These are all brilliant questions, right? It feels like both energies are blocks we have to overcome. What I would say to that, Christine, is that it's like driving a car, a stick shift car. One foot is on the accelerator, one foot is on the clutch. And when you get those two energies in balance, sometimes you need to push down the accelerator and release the clutch. Sometimes you need to do it the other way around. It depends. Now you move into a position where you're prepared, right? The two embrace it. Oh my goodness, schedule in your space. I'm a projector, so if I do a weekend workshop now, I actually take Monday off, nothing on Monday, and I schedule my own time. So embrace your natural hermit and redefine it. You know, it's very different from saying I'm a hermit and, you know, I isolate myself to, you know, I need my space and I actually love it. So I'm going to take it. Thank you very much, universe, because I'm the boss of me, right? I can do what I say I want to do. And the other thing is redefine risk. Every time we do something new, we trigger off our survival mechanism every time, because every time we do something new, we're taking ourselves out of our comfort zone. And instead of recognizing that as a risk, like a 2-4, seriously, 4, you couldn't be at risk at a 4. My daughter is 1-4. And when she went to college there a couple of years ago, she literally got me to drop her down a week early. She timed herself going to all the classes so that she was prepared, so that she wouldn't have to, you know, she said, Mom, you know, I just want to outrule all the things that don't have to scare me. Because it's going to be scary enough starting college, you know. So being as prepared as she can, controlling what she can, and recognizing that when we're doing something, when we do something new, the fear isn't necessarily telling us we're at risk. The fear, unless we're in mortal danger, of course, then run. The fear is telling us just to pay attention. We're doing something new. Make sure you're in balance. Make sure you're connected to your authority. Because when we do something new, fear is excitement without the breath. So when you feel you're at risk, first of all, change the word. Second of all, take a deep breath and allow yourself to embrace doing something a little different. Okay? Mary Pat Lynch is a 1-3 projector coming out of burnout. Depleted savings, trouble with consistent steps towards building a coaching business due to large energy shifts, 3955. I have the 3955 as well. And I'm well aware of it. I can use it to provoke trouble for myself or provoke flow. What it is for me, I have 5955 actually in my unconscious sun and earth. So you need to be in your energetic balance, grounded, centered, and flow to be working. You need to be very discerning about what you say yes to and what you say no to. As I said, as a projector, we need to watch our energy and we need to be very picky about where we share this precious energy. As I said in the Feng Shui, our health is in the center. Mary Pat, the more you focus on your health and well-being, the more you will start being a magnet instead of feeling like it's all hard work. Because as a projector, we really need to step into our creative genius. And with that 1-3, the 1 being the information and the 3 being the trying it out, you'll have a good idea at this point what works and what doesn't. And just pay attention to that and honor it, right? And for me, the melancholy that comes from the individual circuitry, I have a few different individual lines. The melancholy is informing me to get back and reconnect with my flow. That's what the melancholy tells me. It tells me when I'm looking at Facebook and I'm watching America's Got Talent and I'm seeing everyone being picked but me. That's my melancholy saying, get over yourself, pick you. You pick you first, right? It's just, you know. But, you know, and I do that when I'm ready to do it. If I want to have a melancholic funk, I will. just to be really honest. So Mary Pat, really align with your energies. Learn how to bring the energy and the practice of the energy to support the information of what you're doing, right? Very important. Helen Catherine, how am I doing? God, I'm right up to the end. Catherine Helen, assessing the authentic 5-1 voice. Now, the 5, I have learned, and I was triggered, many thanks to my colleagues here in this Human Design School, Sandra Lee and Agela Baker, where they did that was the first time I cracked that 5 nut. That 5-1 has been the scourge of my life without me realizing for a long time. The 5 is a natural leader. We're natural mirrors. Number 1, people never get us. They won't ever get us. They don't ever get us. They only see themselves in us. So the more we try to look for their acknowledgement, the more disheartening, soul destroying, misery it creates for us, okay? That's the first thing I've learned. I don't know, does this work? Does this resonate? It's just, second, the voice of the 5-1 authentic voice is, oh yeah, it is 3-5. Absolutely, Trisha. And the second thing is when I need to be the source of my success. If I'm the mirror, the power of that 5-1, if people are seeing themselves in me, the power of that is that I can see what's going on without being seen. So when I utilize that dynamic in my coaching, it just makes it a totally different ballgame. So the authentic 5-1 voice for me is, I am an amazing leader. I get emotional when I do this because it took me so long to figure it out. I still am so in awe. I am the source of my success. I am so delighted to have created the container where people can come for help. I am acknowledgement. I am everything. Gosh, you can see how emotional this is for me because it was so hurtful to be a 5 for so long and not know what it was. Sorry, guys. I am everything I need to create my success. That's the 5. And the more you become your own advocate, the more you can help people. And the less you step into the relationship norm, that doesn't work for 5-1, have you noticed? Or for the 3-5, doesn't work at all. So we have to develop our own relationship strategies. And it's really about being our own advocate for the joy, the love, and the success that we're here to represent. I'm just 2:59. I have one more question. And this is from Robin. As a practitioner, how do I approach business? What kind of questions do I ask? Well, very quickly, I ask questions that pertain to me keeping in alignment with my design. They have become non-negotiables for me. With the head and asana, is this really true for me? With my emotion, with my decision authority, it's emotional authority. Have I checked with my inner compass with this? Am I aligned? Am I in my flow? That 59-55. I don't feel safe until I'm in my flow, or until the information is in my flow. Am I seeking outside acknowledgement? Because if I am, I need to stop that right now. As a 5-1, I'm it's just like mind-numbingly horrible, looking for success. And look, I'm a projector, right? So projector needs acknowledgement and recognition, and I'm a 5 profile, seriously? So this has been a long, hard lesson for me, but once I've cracked that 5, honestly, it's just a joy. So that was my last question. Make what I know I need from my design my non-negotiables, and it makes it much easier. And the last thing I do is fully aware that we're all impacted by these energies is who or where do I need to seek support from this year? I usually have a business guru and I have an energy person that I work with to keep myself in balance during the year, because a blind spot is a blind spot. You don't see it. You don't see it. That's why it's called a blind spot. Anyway, Cindy, I've run a minute over time. I apologize. But
I do want to say that the affirmations that you were saying about the fifth line, Amy was wondering if you would share those. Because
yeah,
and that was wonderful that you were sharing that. That was a wonderful affirmation for fifth lines. And as a 4/6, I was going to say it was a wonderful affirmation for me too. So hey,
it is. You know what? Because the 4/6, Cindy, is another design where you're your own person. The 6 you're in it and not of it at the same time. So there's that feeling of kind of wondering where you fit and not fitting at the same time, if that makes sense. So it does. I think we all have our expression of it, don't we? I think every line has the expression of it.
And we can post the affirmation under the replay on the website and on the Facebook page.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you're willing to share. Now,
Totally.
do you want to tell people again, they can go to your website if they want to, that you had a special offering on your website?
Absolutely. Oh, thanks, Cindy. Absolutely. AnnitaKeane.com, ANNITA, 2 N's. Keane, Keane. Oh yeah, you've got it there, Cindy. Thank you. And I have the little 15-minute mini session. If you want to find out your number one success, you want number one money stopper, because when you shift this into balance, it on its own is a game changer. And when you know human design already, oh my God, this just opens all that up for you. And the second thing is with the Oasis, it's a year-long program. And I must have a chat with Karen about that maybe, but I would love to offer you a discount if you did want to join it. If you want to PM me and let me know. It just combines human design inner, what is your business system, outer, how are you wired to interact with that universe, like that 5-1. No wonder I was banging my head against brick walls. I wasn't operating. I was looking for acknowledgement from the projector aspect, and the mirror was up from the 5 aspect, and I'm kind of there going, man, how does this work again? I wasn't getting anywhere fast, right? So that's the how am I wired to interact with the universe to co-create those results. And the third then, the Feng Shui. Get your environment supporting you. Because when you're down or low and your office is set up from balance, your office is bigger than you. It raises your frequency so that you you approach your work from a completely different perspective. So it's just a beautiful way to, I'll put the link in maybe under the Facebook thing, Cindy, if that's okay. But it's just a beautiful way to get the support while you find your own feet in your business. But your feet, imagine all the money you save just knowing your decision style, just knowing what to say yes to and what to say no to. We have a thing in Ireland, I call it Sha knows, which is Irish for yes, wisdom. And that's the key. It's like, that's the money dial, that's the decision. So apply your human design the way you were designed. It's absolutely amazing. And it's a game changer. Yeah.
Well, thanks. That's a great way to end your webinar. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thanks, Cindy. And thanks everybody for those questions. They were brilliant. They kind of covered a broad spectrum, didn't they?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks a million.